Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Reach out to me directly. tmosso@thewatchbox.com is my email. Today, we're discussing a model launched at Basel World 2016. This is the Rolex Oyster Perpetual Datejust 41. It is reference 126334 in 904L stainless steel and 18 karat white gold, or more properly, gray gold. The watch is 41 millimeters in diameter, and it took over from the previous Datejust 2, which was a large Datejust model launched in 2009 and discontinued for 2016. That model featured exclusively an Oyster bracelet. With the Datejust 41, we regained the option of a Jubilee. So 41 millimeters in diameter. The watch is 11.7 millimeters thick. 21 millimeters is the spacing between the lugs. And from end link to end link, the total distance is 47.6. The lug-to-lug dimension is 47.4. It's almost the same. Because of pivoted end links now, we don't have that huge wingspan of 53 millimeters across the wrist that we got with the old Datejust 2. This is a much easier 41 millimeter Datejust to wear. On my 16 centimeter circumference wrist, it looks great, it feels great. You can see it's low enough to fit underneath the sleeve. Being so much narrower across the wrist than the Datejust 2, I can recommend this watch for a wrist as small as 13.5 centimeters circumference, so a lady could wear this big Datejust. And that's no exaggeration. You can see particularly from down the barrel that the lugs are nowhere near the wrist. The edge on either side is clear. Taking a look at the Jubilee bracelet. Remember, the Jubilee was born with the Datejust in 1945. That was a 36 millimeter watch at the time, but the year was the 40th anniversary of the founding of Rolex, and so it was the Jubilee. Hence, the Jubilee was born as a bracelet equipped on the original Datejust model, so named because the date jumped perfectly at midnight, and thus, relative to the time displayed, the date was always just. Now, Rolex has its own foundry. It makes its own cases, clasps, and alloys, so it makes a white gold 18 karat alloy called gray gold. This is the good stuff. It's what Grubel Forsey uses, it's what de Bethune uses, it's what Jaeger-LeCoultre and Patek Philippe use. It's a warmer look than rhodium-plated white gold, but it never needs to be rhodium-plated, and it's the same color all the way through in case it gets scratched. We have the Jubilee bracelet now with solid center links, giving it quite a bit more durability than in past generations. There's a taper, there's a conforming end link to better join it with the flank of the case. You can see removable links are fixed by screws, and you have quite a few of them on each side. We have a 5 millimeter in and out tool-free easy link quick adjustment mechanism, and then you can see that there are 3 divots inside the clasp, and using your strap tool you can change the anchoring point of the bracelet and the clasp to fine-tune the fit. The clasp internal, you can see the swing arm is fully polished. There's a beacon to hook, so there's a latching lift lock system. You can't just pull it open, you do have to unlock it. So even though there's not a clamshell, it doesn't have the oyster lock oyster clasp, it is still quite secure. Taking a look at the case, you can see it's handsome, broad, a little bit more tapered and thin in profile than a 36 millimeter Datejust, so it has a lovely wingspan and a grace to it because the aspect ratio changes. We've got a twin lock crown in steel, that's what that little slash means, and the watch is 100 meters water resistant. We have an Oyster case back, sapphire crystal, sapphire magnifier, and I always feel that the Cyclops eye magnifier wears better on the bigger dialed Date-8s and Datejusts, and that's certainly the case here. You can see that the bezel is beautifully fluted, showing little evidence of wear, and then we have a dial with a dark rhodium anthracite sunburst that's quite beautiful with white gold crown, indices, and hands, because white gold will not tarnish or oxidize or discolor over time. Now, the watch has plenty of luminescence. You can see it's Rolex's proprietary in-house Chromolite blue lume. So, although this watch does have some dressy elements, including the Jubilee bracelet and the fluted bezel, nevertheless, 100 meters water-resistant, primarily steel construction, automatic winding, and fully lumed. This is also very much a sports watch. You have 2 subsidiary setting modes, one of which is the hacking seconds function, so I can stop the seconds hand and synchronize to a reference time. And then I have a quick set mechanism. Fun fact right here, you can see it in action. When I turn counterclockwise, I advance the caliber 3235. If this were a 3135, I would advance it by turning it clockwise. Great way to bust counterfeits if you're looking at these. Also important to note, caliber 3235 is used here. It's the next generation Rolex automatic. It is a chronometer certified. It's a bidirectional winder, now with a rotor bearing instead of the older and more fragile jeweled staff, now with a 70-hour power reserve instead of 48. Rolex goes above and beyond with its chronometer certification, taking the COSC certified movement, casing it up, testing it in 6 positions, and ensuring that it'll run no worse than -2 plus 2 seconds per 24 hours, so there is now a substantive basis for that term superlative chronometer. The movement beats away at 8 beats per second, pivots on 31 joules, and it has a Breguet overcoil hairspring for even timekeeping in any physical position. That overcoil is made of blue oxidized niobium zirconium alloy Rolex calls Parachrom blue, so it's highly anti-magnetic. And then it has a free sprung balance and a full balance bridge for both precise adjustment and shock tolerance. This movement is stacked. Rolex even makes the shock protection Paraflex and the very lubricants used in the movement, a fully integrated manufacturer. Your watch, when it's Rolex, is all Rolex. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for pricing.